Are you in desperate need of a financial miracle, urgent money, or an unexpected turnaround in your finances? If so, pay close attention because what I'm about to share with you could change everything. Maybe you've tried everything, worked harder, cut expenses, prayed, yet nothing seems to shift. But what if I told you there's a biblical principle that can unlock the financial breakthrough you're looking for? A principle that powerful men and women of God used in times of crisis, leading to supernatural provision? I'm talking about the power of fasting and prayer. And this is not just theory. I'm going to show you real biblical examples that prove how this works. Most people go through life without ever experiencing the power of fasting. Some think it's outdated, others believe it's just for spiritual growth. But what if I told you that fasting can change your financial reality? Yes, I mean divine answers that bring financial provision when all seems impossible. It doesn't matter if your bills are piling up, if your salary isn't enough, or if you need resources urgently. If God provided in the past, He can provide today, and I'm going to show you exactly how. Now tell me in the comments, from which city are you watching this and believing for a financial miracle? Drop it below, because your declaration of faith could be the first step toward unlocking supernatural provision. And stay with me until the end, because what you're about to discover could be the turning point in your financial life. 1. Esther and fasting for the salvation of her people. Esther 4 verse 16. Imagine being in a desperate situation where your life and your people's lives are at stake. That's exactly what Queen Esther faced. As queen, she had influence, but she couldn't just walk into the king's presence uninvited. Doing so could cost her life. However, instead of acting impulsively or panicking, she made a strategic decision to fast. Not just her, but her entire people fasted for 3 days. This wasn't just a religious practice. It was a spiritual movement that opened doors and changed a death sentence into victory. This shows us something powerful. In times of crisis, whether emotional, family-related, or financial struggles like urgent money needs, fasting can be the key to reversing impossible situations. Now, think about your own life. Have you ever felt like doors were shut? That your financial provision was at risk? Esther teaches us that when facing financial difficulties or any battle, fasting aligns us with divine favor. She didn't seek human solutions first, she sought God, and that changed everything. Her fasting not only gave her courage to approach the king, but it also made him welcome her with grace instead of punishment. Could it be that your financial breakthrough is already prepared, just waiting for you to take a step of faith? Instead of running after human solutions, what if you sought divine intervention first? The most incredible thing is that this principle isn't just for the past. Many Christians have experienced unexpected financial provision after fasting and prayer. And here's the secret. Fasting isn't magic, but a way to align yourself with God's will and release the supernatural. If you need urgent money or a financial breakthrough, why not try a strategic fast, seeking God's guidance and favor? Remember, Esther didn't fast alone. She created a movement. Maybe the breakthrough you're waiting for requires creating this atmosphere of intense spiritual pursuit with others. Speaking of intense spiritual pursuit, there's another incredible example of this principle. 2. Elijah and supernatural provision in the famine. 1 Kings 17 verses 3 to 6, 8 to 16. Now, imagine living through a famine, no food, no water, and no hope of survival. That's exactly what Elijah faced. But God sent him to an unlikely place, where ravens brought him bread and meat every day. Later, God led him to a widow in Zarephath, a woman with only a handful of flour and a little oil left. In human terms, this was not a viable solution, but when the widow obeyed and gave the prophet food first, a miracle happened. Her flour and oil never ran out until the famine ended. This teaches us that financial provision can come from the most unexpected places when we trust in God's direction. Now, let's get practical. How many times have your finances been tight and you saw no way out? Elijah trusted in supernatural provision, and the widow, though she had little, had the faith to act. The urgent money you need may not come from where you expect, but God can use the most unusual sources to provide. It could be a surprise client, a canceled debt, or a last-minute business idea. But just like the widow had to step out in faith, provision often manifests after an act of obedience. Have you been paying attention to God's instructions? 3. Jesus and the multiplication of loaves and fishes. Matthew 14 verses 15 to 21. Now imagine being in a desert, surrounded by thousands of hungry people, with nowhere near enough food to feed them all. The disciples were worried, but Jesus saw the situation differently. Instead of focusing on what was lacking, he took the 5 loaves and 2 fish they had, lifted his eyes to heaven, gave thanks, and began distributing them. What happened next was an undeniable miracle. The little food they had multiplied until everyone was satisfied, and there were even 12 baskets left over. Here's one of the most powerful lessons about financial provision. Multiplication begins with gratitude and surrender. Now think about this. Have you ever found yourself complaining about the money you lack instead of being thankful for what you already have? Jesus could have panicked over the scarcity, but instead, he chose a different principle, acknowledging the provision already available and trusting that God would make it grow. Many times, we are so focused on urgent money needs that we forget to honor what we already have. The secret lies in shifting your perspective. What seems too little in your hands can be more than enough for a great miracle when placed in God's hands. Have you ever tried surrendering your finances to Him with faith and gratitude instead of anxiety? This miracle teaches us that when we trust God, He can provide in ways we never imagined. That doesn't mean we should sit back and expect money to fall from the sky, but rather that we should act in faith, using what we have while trusting that God can multiply it. Have you ever noticed how some people, even with little, always seem to have enough, and others, even earning well, are constantly drowning in debt? The principle of multiplication is not about how much you have, but about how you trust and manage it. So, what if the missing piece in your financial life isn't just more money, but a completely new way of seeing and acting? Because once you understand this, you realize there's a powerful key to transforming your financial reality. Now that you've seen how fasting and prayer unlock supernatural financial provision, the real question is, are you willing to put this into practice? Because knowing is not enough. It's the action you take that changes everything. Esther stepped out in faith. Daniel persisted despite delays. Elijah trusted God's direction. And Jesus demonstrated that multiplication starts with gratitude. These are not just stories, they are principles that still work today. But let me ask you, will you just listen and move on? Or will you be the next person to experience a financial miracle? Think about it. What if your breakthrough has already been released, but all that's missing is for you to align yourself with God's strategy? What if the financial door you've been waiting for is right in front of you, but it takes a bold step of faith to open it? Some people will hear this and do nothing, but others will take action, and those are the ones who will see results. Which one will you be? If this message spoke to you, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss more powerful biblical financial insights. And before you go, drop a comment below. I believe in my financial miracle. This is more than just words. It's your faith in action. Let's declare it together, and let's activate this principle now. And stay tuned, because in the next video, I'm going to reveal something even deeper about how God provides in ways you never imagined.